So, this episode is going to be about work, and it is going to be about humanity and us as human beings, because we are quite funny and interesting. And this is what we're going to talk about, but there's going to be more after the intro. As always, as quite every single day, because it is amazing, because I like what I'm doing here. And with that being said, hello and welcome back to the next episode of the Self-Development with Tactics podcast. And I'm really appreciating you clicking on this video and maybe even watching these first 30, 31, 32 seconds. But yeah, before we even go through the episode, there's a few things that I'm willing to talk about. Or it's actually, I think, 3 things. So it's not a few, well, even though it depends on what you think is a few, and nevertheless. The first thing is, if you're willing to listen to this, assuming that you are on the YouTube video and you actually want to listen to this, then you are in a good place, because this is actually a podcast. So please check out the first link in the description. But if you are on the podcast and you really think like, well, I would actually like to have the YouTube video, then please check out, I think, the second link. So it's the first section, first or second link, it depends. Then, the notes. I've highlighted certain parts in this video or certain parts in these articles that I went through. So if you want to have a summary of this particular episode, then please check out the description and check the notes link out, because it is a free PDF. You can download it and print it and read it and do whatever with it. And it is basically a summary of this video, and there's also summaries of previous videos. Then you can just have a look at the list of notes that I'm having in this Google Drive folder, or whatever it is. The last one is music. If you're willing to personalize the whole experience of this podcast, then please check out the last link, which is the add music link. Yes. But without further ado, let's actually go through the articles, because they are amazing and interesting. And I do believe, even though I'm not quite sure, I haven't been on this website before, but I think it is a pretty interesting article and a pretty great article, as well as to just go through. I guess it is a good article. This article is by the artofmanliness.com site and was written by Brett and Kate McKay, I assume, or it is just the authors of the website in general. I don't surely know, but I think so. And this article is from the 25th of 2020 and January. So the 25th of January, so it's an article from yesterday. This episode is going to be probably for today, I guess, on the 26th. But yeah, so Sunday firesides, the weight of worthy work. And it is about worthy work, and it is something that's incredibly important, so please listen. Sunday fireside, the weight of worthy work, and also the illustration is quite cool, by the way. I like them. And I do wonder if they constantly publish articles, which is, I think, something pretty great, because there is not that many sites and or blogs that I do enjoy reading, besides the Seth Godin blog, and I do like this one, and also the Life Hackers. But nevertheless, I'm gonna go ahead. Humans can be funny creatures, especially when it comes to our relationship with work and effort, which might best be described as a constant tension between attraction and repulsion. And this is definitely the case, and he is definitely, or they both, because it's he and she, I guess. I'm not quite sure, but I think they do just explain it really well with these examples that they are going to come up with in a few seconds. We balk at, it's actually the first one. We balk at tackling a difficult project, then we feel immensely satisfied in its completion, and then we balk at doing another. And it is definitely the case, and I've also seen it, I guess we all have seen it. We do not want to do the work, we do just want to kind of push it away, we do want to do it just somewhere else, because now in this point of time, or at this point of time, we are just doing something else, or we're doing whatever. But then after we've done it, and after we've completed it, it feels so fucking amazing. Not because it is just done right now, or it is gone right now, just because it feels good, I guess. And I think it is not necessarily about the completion itself, but even though it could also be a pretty huge important point, especially if it is a really big project and a really just a time-consuming project, then of course I'll also say that the completion part is definitely a huge one, and it is definitely going to feel pretty good. If you've put in a lot of work and a lot of effort and a lot of sweat and tears into whatever you're doing, then of course this is going to feel really good. But on the other hand, I also think just doing something, I think, feels good. And it could also be the case that you're going to feel actually quite bad, which is, I guess, another point that they are coming up with after you've completed something, after you completed something that you have been working on for so much time and you've put so much effort into this, and now it is complete and now it is finished and now it is also kinda gone. I have also felt that, and I'm also seeing that from time to time, which is like kinda, I don't want to say annoying, but it is like a little sad, it is a little sad. And then we are again doing the other thing again, which is bulking it. I'm not actually quite sure, it's BALK. So yeah, the next example is we feel lonely and desirous of connection. I hope it is desirous, well, never mind. Then reach out to others, then cave at the obligations that go along with relationships, and then seek to detach ourselves. And then we once again feel lonely again, which is definitely the case. We are really interesting and funny creatures, I have to say. Like the human race, the human being is something that's incredibly interesting, because sometimes we're feeling this, then right afterwards we're feeling that, and now just afterwards the whole cycle repeats itself and repeats itself and repeats itself until we kind of get it sometimes, or sometimes even not, because a lot of cycles are just repetitive as fuck, sleep, eat, whatever. There's a lot of cycles in our life in general, I would say. There's a really lot of cycles. We think that if we had more time in our schedules, and this is a really important one right now, we could get a lot more done. But when we get more time, we struggle with getting started on anything at all, discovering that paradoxically, the busier we get, the more productive we become. Yes, I would say so as well. If you know that there's a lot of things that you have to do, then you're probably also going to do way more than if you know, okay, I'm having a lot of time, I'm going to do it whenever, which is, it is a law that I've recently been talking about, but I've forgotten the name. The law, just in the end, the law says that the more time we're having, the more time we're also going to take for doing this specific task. It means that if you're just having 10 minutes for a task, then you're also going to do this task in the 10 minutes. And if I'm just going through an episode and I have a few articles to read in 30 minutes, then I'm probably also going to be able to do this in 30 minutes. But if I'm just really willing to stretch it, then I think I could also just be doing it in, 50 minutes. Even though it is kind of more difficult to do that, because I naturally speak relatively fast and go through things relatively fast, which is not making it pretty easy for me to go through something really slow and take my time, even though I maybe do not need the time that I could take myself, even though I could also be doing this right now because I'm actually having quite a lot of time. 30 minutes is quite something. But yeah, we think we would be so much happier if we didn't have to work and are indeed relieved when we get a break. Yes, we are relieved. But if it goes on too long, we begin to feel bored, restless, and even depressed, which is definitely the case, and which is also one of the reasons why I tend to do just so many things, because I do not want to feel bored. And I also don't want to feel kind of, just quite unnecessary, some kind of as well. Because the thing is, I'm having so much to do. And there's always something that I can be doing. And there's always some different things. For example, I wouldn't be just really liking when I would only be doing one single thing every single day, all the fucking time. Of course, I'm recording and I'm doing some posts and I'm designing something and I'm doing whatever every single day. It is quite the same, but I'm just doing various different things, like posting or just doing the post or designing the post is something different than when I'm doing just the editing for the video or when I'm just doing the video itself. It is something different, and I kind of feel like that I need it and that it is something that's quite important for me. And of course, other people might like it just the complete different way, like always doing the same, having the regular things, always just having the exact same things, even though I'm not quite sure how many people are really into that, always doing the exact same fucking shit all the fucking time. It seems to be not quite of a good thing, at least to me. But we are all different. We don't want to go out and socialize or go do an act of service, but then after we go anyway, we are invariably glad we did. Which is something that I've often seen when I was playing soccer back in 2015. No, it's not 15, but 13. Well, no, in 2008, I think it was. There I've been playing soccer I've in general been playing soccer for, I think, 5 years in total. Somehow like that. I'm not quite sure, but something like that. And not every single game, but I've had quite a lot of games. And most often I felt like, I do not want to go to the game. I just do not want to play. But once I am in the game, it feels amazing because I love the sport. I really do love the sport, but I do not like the trainings, and I do not like to just, I don't know, maybe that's quite it. I do not like the training, and I also do not just like to maybe think about things and think about going there or maybe not going there or whatever. But I just really like the game. Sometimes we like putting down roots, and other times we want to run away, move away, and start all over again. We want to be bound and we want to be released, attraction and repulsion once again. Part of our vacillation arises from a misunderstanding of the tension inherent to effort. We see responsibilities as burdens and burdens as bad. But our embrace of responsibility might be more wholehearted if we came to view its attendant pressure through the metaphorical lens offered by Viktor Frankl. As the load, architects place atop a structural arc which joins the parts more firmly together. And I'm going to repeat it again because I've read it quite shittily. As the load, architects place atop a structural arc which joins the parts more firmly together. The weight of worthy work, of meaningful goals, of sacred obligations doesn't hold us down, it keeps us falling apart. It keeps us from falling apart. Yes, I'll say this as well. I really believe that having a goal and having some meaning in life and having something of meaning in life and doing something in terms of work especially as well that is worth the effort and that is also involving some effort as well, I think is something that's incredibly important because like if you're doing just all the fucking time something that's quite nonsensical and you know that you could be doing something that's meaningful but you're not doing it, I guess it is something that's quite fucked up. And I do enjoy that he's also talking about Viktor Frankl since he's definitely one of these people that are saying like, you should be having a meaning. And having meaning in life and having a purpose in life is something that's incredibly important and something that you actually have to have, because he was able to survive the fucking concentration camps by having purpose in life and by having meaning in life. And this actually, I think, has to say something if somebody was able to actually survive a fucking concentration camp just because he had meaning and he had something to look forward to maybe as well. The book, by the way, Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl is definitely a really good one and a really interesting one, especially to just see what they did to just stay alive. Like, it is insane. I do remember one scene where they used glass. What are they called? I don't know what they're called, but they used glass to scrub off their cheek skin to make them look red, so that they look alive and so that they don't look ill or handicapped or whatever. Because if they just look ill and not worthy of the work, quote unquote, please, quote unquote, then they would have all died just immediately. They would all have been killed in the concentration camps once they have arrived, because there were certain not really days, but certain parts in this whole quote unquote journey where they have been sorted out. One of them was directly when they have not appeared, but when they have gone to the place, to the concentration camps. And like, it is insane. It really truly is insane. And it is just also insane that it has been a case. Even though, on the other hand, I also do have to say that we hopefully have learned from that or of that. I really do hope that it is the case. I'm not quite sure sometimes though, because people, we forget things and things seem to be repetitive. It has been just in history the case quite often, and it's probably also going to be the case in the future that a lot of things are repeating themselves and a lot of things are gonna come and go and come and go and come and go. And even though we kind of should have learned from certain things, I'd say, but it is what it is. Sometimes But I by the way, I really am sorry for all these people that are having this in their history. So if you're a person that has had a maybe grandparent or grandparent, I'm very sorry for you, and I wish you the best. And I in general wish everyone that is just on a podcast or whatever they're doing, I wish all the best. I do just want you to be fucking happy. This is what I want. This is also one of the reasons why I'm having the podcast. And I think it is also just a great driver for me, even though I do often forget about it, which is definitely the case, because I've reminded myself that it is the case, that I do just want you to be fucking happy. And this is also one of the things that I've realized, as I was starting the podcast and as I was actually in the middle of the whole journey that I am right now. I do just want you to be happy, and I do want you to just have a better life. And if I'm able to provide you with information or some insights and some perspectives to make that happen, then I've done my work. I really have. And just because we're talking about work, there is something that's incredible that Seth Godin is often talking about. And I do want to give it to you, and I do want to share it with you. And it is doing work that matters for people who care. That's the actual title from my new book. Or maybe it is People Like Us Doing Things Like This. It is technically called This Is Marketing. It is about modern marketing, the way we spread ideas when we care enough to do it with respect, empathy, and humility. It is on sale now and ships in November. It might change things because that's what marketers do. And it is actually the case. Like, being in marketing is actually something that's quite incredible, since you are definitely able to create change. But you're always able to create change no matter what you're doing. You're always able to just change the people that are around you when you're doing work that matters for people who care. And I think it is also a great way to think about work, Not doing something for someone or for anyone, but doing work that matters for people who care. For really people that care about whatever you're doing. Of course, you have to find them. Of course, you have to see them. But what is work that matters? And there's also 10 questions from Seth Godin that should lead you to figuring out what is work that matters. The first one is, what are you doing that's difficult? What are you doing that people believe only you can do? Who are you connecting? What do people say when they talk about you? What are you afraid of? What is the scarce resource? Who are you trying to change? What does the change look like? Would we miss our work or your work if you stopped making it? What do you stand for? What contribution are you making? Hints? Any question that's difficult to answer deserves more thought. Any answers that are meandering, nuanced or complex are probably a symptom of something important. Yeah. And with that being said, I guess this is the end of the episode. And I really am happy and I really am thankful for you being on this episode. And the last few days, I'm going to talk about it in another episode, I guess. So I wish you the best health, happiness, and also success. And also hope that you're going to remind yourself on how you're going to be remembered, which basically means your legacy, which, for example, means that you are just acting like a good person. And then you're also going to be remembered as a good person by doing good actions and by doing good. But yeah. I am hopefully going to see you the next time. And there's 3 questions that I hope that you're going to ask yourself, which are: why are you here? What are you trying to change? And what is bothering you the most? These 3 are maybe hopefully going to show you your purpose and maybe even a business idea. But yeah, I'm hopefully going to see you the next time. I love you.